On today's episode of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides, we'll talk about topics like the ATF going directly against President Donald Trump, University of Las Vegas president working against Homeland Security, Rhode Island representative saying he doesn't want to allow ICE in his state, and also we'll show the videos of the raids happening in the city of Boston. All that and much more on America Unfiltered with James Pascalides starting now.
The moment is here. This is our moment.
America, we are back, baby. Welcome to episode 13 of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides. I talked to you guys about my topics a little already. I'm going to dive right on into them for you guys today. First, I want to talk about the ATF going directly against President Donald Trump's orders. So Donald Trump had an executive order to remove all DEI positions from government workforce, citing that it was a waste of taxpayer dollars, which I personally agree with as well. The ATF has gone against this. They changed their chief diversity officer to a senior executive. They just changed the job title name, but kept the roles of the position the exact same. I'm going to pop up this picture for you guys of the ATF website so you guys can see what I'm talking about as well. I think just like me, I think a lot of Americans see something like this and they just see it as a direct defiance of presidential authority by a government agency. So I really think rogue government agencies like the ATF, who have become corrupt over time, shouldn't be able to directly defy the president without any kind of repercussions. I personally think that whoever was in charge of this, Donald Trump should be able to hold accountable. I personally think that defying the president, presidential executive orders because of your own personal liberal agenda is not okay. I think the majority of Americans would agree as well, because I don't think anyone thinks that there should be rogue government agents just creating their own rules because of what they personally believe. I think that goes against what America's about. That goes against the principles of our democracy and of our government. So I'm interested to see how the future pans out for this, what Donald Trump decides to do about the ATF, about the rogue agents in the ATF, and about the corruption that's happened in the ATF for years. One of my next topics I want to talk to you guys about is the University of Las Vegas. They're providing free legal assistance to immigrant students using federal funding. They sent this email out to students right here. So that email right there, that email shows that the University of Las Vegas is going directly against Donald Trump as well. They are saying they will use federal funding. So they're a federally funded public university. So they're going to use our taxpayer dollars to help illegal immigrants who go to their school fight legal battles against the United States. I personally disagree with this. I think a lot of Americans would agree with this, even if you disagree with my opinions on immigration and illegal immigrants. I think you can still agree that colleges using American taxpayer dollars that can be used towards bettering that college, getting better professors, better materials, better buildings. All those things are going out the window for them to be able to help illegal immigrants work against the United States government. So I personally disagree with this. I think any school who's taking a part in this practice should lose their federal funding. I think there's been a lot of really bad things happening with our colleges in our country. I think a lot of colleges are doing a lot of indoctrination nowadays. So like I've talked about in a previous episode, Charlie Kirk's book, The College Scam, it talks about how college is indoctrinating children, and it's not teaching them the truth as much as it's trying to just set them up to follow a very specific life path. And again, I think college can be a great necessary step for a lot of people's careers, but I think there's very specific majors for that. I don't think college should be as big as it is. I personally don't think a lot of the communication majors, psychology majors, social work majors, I don't think they even need a college education for the majority of jobs they want to find outside of college. So, again, I really think that when universities are using their federal funding to help students work against the federal government, it's almost a catch-22. It's pretty ironic. It doesn't make sense at all, and I really think that, like I said, I think the schools who do this should be punished in the way of losing their federal funding. In my personal opinion, I would love to see how President Donald Trump reacts to this as well in the upcoming days. To talk about my next topic, I want to talk about a Rhode Island state representative who's saying he will not allow ICE deportations in the state of Rhode Island. First of all, a state representative has zero authority to say or do that. If a state representative tries to get in the way of the Immigration Customs Enforcement Service, they will be arrested. It is a crime to interfere with immigration crimes in the country. It is a crime to protect illegal immigrants currently under the new president, Donald Trump. So what this representative is doing, Enrique Sanchez, it is very illegal. And if he does try any action against ICE, action will be brought against him by any law enforcement who is able to. I personally, like I said, I don't think that people should be working against Donald Trump on his immigration plans. I think his immigration plans are putting Americans first, which is something that President Biden and Harris did not do. And America needs a rebirth. We need a rebirth of patriotism. We need to get that spirit that we all had in us back out. I know we all have it still in us. I know we're all still patriotic. We all still love our country. But it's been a really difficult last few years, especially since COVID. The amount people disagree in this country is, again, I don't think everyone should agree on everything. I said before that the day we all agree on everything is the day our government has brainwashed us, but we should be agreeing on a lot more than we currently do. And there's a lot of common sense things that we should be agreeing on. We should be able to agree that taxpayer dollars should not be going to work against the federal government. We should be able to agree that the ATF, a government agency, shouldn't be working against the president. We should be able to agree on these almost simple things that somehow are now a debate. But I really think that the more and more as time goes on, as we separate ourselves from COVID, we separate ourselves from the lunacy and hypocrisy that was the Biden administration, I really think the more the world will start to get a little normal again, conversations and interactions will get a little more normal as well. But I really think the world has gotten to this really weird place where it's hard to communicate with people about certain things because a lot of people are just so lost in the media frenzy of everything they've heard on the news, believing everything they hear, when it's really just people pushing their own personal political ideologies right down your throat. And for a lot of Americans, it's easy to brush that off and say, okay, like, that's a pretty crazy take. I don't believe that. But for a lot of Americans who either lack the knowledge or understanding of our government, of the way everything works, they just hear things on CNN, they hear things on Fox, they hear things on whatever channel they watch, and they take it as it is. They don't do any research for their own. And it creates a scenario where it's really hard to interact and have conversations, or at least intellectual conversations with people, where they're not just getting very upset because you disagree with them politically. So, like I've said in previous episodes, the more we can open up dialogues with each other and just continue to have peaceful dialogues, whether we agree or disagree with each other, the better it will be for everybody and this nation. To dive into my next topic as well, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to show you guys a video and then we're going to talk about it. So this video shows an illegal immigrant who had 17 charges against him who's finally getting deported. I'm going to play the video for you guys right now, and then we'll pick it apart a little bit.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
ICE Boston quickly takes down its next targets, including this illegal alien from Brazil who has an Interpol red notice for armed robbery. This Salvadoran illegal alien charged locally with rape and released by a sanctuary jurisdiction.
Señor, ¿cómo se llama?
And this Dominican illegal alien charged with assault with a deadly weapon and heroin trafficking. Officers also arrested this Guatemalan MS-13 gang member facing gun charges. ICE says he was released from local custody just the day before. Their detainer request was ignored because of sanctuary policies. And in a sign of shifting priorities with the new Trump administration, this man, who was in the same apartment as the target, was also arrested after ICE determined he's also in the U.S. illegally. This is what ICE calls collateral.
So you guys got your main target just now, but you got somebody else. What just happened?
So our main target was released by a sanctuary jurisdiction, not honoring a detainer. That person was released back into the community, and when we went to go find him, he's with somebody else who was previously removed from the United States. So he's going to go today too.
And that is exactly what Border Czar Tom Homan has warned would happen.
When we find the bad guy, he's probably with others that are in the United States illegally. They may not be a criminal priority, but we're not walking away from them.
ICE Boston says they will continue to go into sanctuary jurisdictions and do their job.
Today was a good day. Today we took several significant public safety threats out of our communities. Unfortunately, a lot were released by sanctuary policies, but we're here to tell the Commonwealth and the rest of the country that we're going to find them whether they're released or not.
And guys, shortly after we finished filming, ICE Boston told us they arrested 2 more targets in other parts of town away from our cameras. One of those targets is a previously deported Honduran illegal alien who was arrested for raping a woman while putting a gun in her mouth. The other target they got is a Haitian man who first flew into the United States in 2023 as part of President Biden's controversial migrant flights mass parole program. Well, they just picked him up yesterday because he's been arrested locally for sexual assault. We'll send it back to you.
I don't know about you guys, but I watch something like that. It gives me mixed feelings. It gives me, I'm going to start with the positive side of things. It gives me happy feelings because we finally see our illegal enforcement agents finally empowered to do their jobs. I mean, for 4 years, they weren't empowered to do their jobs at all. We were paying federal employees and not allowing them to work. So I really... It makes me happy seeing them able to do their jobs. It makes me happy seeing them taking crime off the streets of America, protecting American citizens, putting American citizens over illegal immigrants. But the part that gets me frustrated, upset, and sad is you hear the stories of the things these people are convicted for, and they're just let go. And they're let go because they're in sanctuary cities who care more about illegal immigrants than they care about the citizens of their cities and of this country. What these countries did, various countries pretty much over the last 4 years, as Biden was allowing illegal immigrants to pour through the border, they emptied their prisons and jails, and they told all those people, you're free to go from jail, but you have to go to America. Why would you say no to that? You're going to stay in a Guatemalan prison? You're going to stay in a Venezuelan prison when you could just go to America and live freely, commit crimes, and get released? Get $13,000 on a prepaid card for food and for housing? I think it's insane the perks that they gave illegal immigrants. Instead of giving anything to veterans, they gave all these crazy amounts of money, food, housing to illegal immigrants. That's one thing. It's terrible that people are able to rape people, kill people, hurt people, steal from people, be released from custody because they're an illegal immigrant in a sanctuary city, and that sanctuary city doesn't want to deport people. So instead of arresting the illegal immigrants, they catch and release. They let them go. This puts American lives at risk. It puts law enforcement lives at risk. So again, gives me mixed feelings seeing a clip like that, but overall it does make me really excited for the next 4 years. Gets me excited to see our law enforcement agents, like I said, empowered to finally do their jobs, arresting these terrible criminals and deporting them back to their country. I mean, you see the guy in the first clip of the video saying, F Donald Trump, Joe Biden is the man. Thank you for everything Obama did to me is what he says, or did for me. But it's like, what they did for you is they allowed you to run on a crime spree, committing 17 different crimes that you were caught for in our country over the last few years. So someone who's committing 17 crimes they're caught for is probably committing well over 50 or 100 crimes on a regular basis. But, to be caught for 17 is an astronomical amount. Not only are you an awful criminal, you are terrible at concealing your illegal activities, but you're a terrible addition to society. If you're committing 17 violent and non-violent crimes around our city and you're not even a citizen of our city, of our country, you are a terrible addition to that country and you should be removed. And I'm very glad he is. I'm very glad he's being deported back to Haiti. I am very excited that under Donald Trump's new administration that he will not be able to get back into the country either. It'll be extremely hard for illegal immigrants to sneak back into America. So this makes me really happy again seeing something like this. I really think our law enforcement agents need to be empowered as much as possible to do their jobs. They deal with so many different threats, so many different political, a lot of political bureaucracy. And I really think the more we can empower our law enforcement agents to do their jobs and be the amazing law enforcement agents they are, the better our country will prosper. To talk about our last topic today, this is one I've already talked about a little bit with you guys as well, one I'm really excited for. I'm going to show one more clip to you guys, and then we'll talk about the clip as well. But the clip is of Donald Trump signing one of his new executive orders that he signed through today.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order ordering the declassification of files relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That's a big one, huh? A lot of people are waiting for this for years, for decades. And everything will be revealed. Okay? Give that to RFK Jr.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say, to start off, for Donald Trump to give RFK that pen, for him to say, give this pay to RFK Jr., it's got to be one of the greatest gifts ever. It's very hard, almost impossible, to put ourselves in the mindset of RFK Jr. if we've never been in the shoes he's in, which most of us have not been. But to have your father and uncle both tragically killed, especially in a politically incentivized way, in a very public way like they both were, with no answers ever to be released, even to the family like RFK Jr., it has to be such a fulfilling feeling to receive the pen that was signed on the executive order that says that all that bureaucracy is done, that everything will be released, that there will be no more hidden agendas with the federal government, that they're going to tell us everything that happened, even if they were the ones guilty in it or who was guilty in it. So I'm really excited. Like I said in previous episodes, I'm really excited to find out what the answers are to this. A lot of conspiracies have bounced around for years about the assassinations of JFK, RFK, and MLK. I gave a pretty good dive into the MLK one the other day and why I think it was the FBI and the federal government who did murder MLK. I do think a similar thing for JFK. I think JFK is one of the trickiest conspiracies out there, and I'm excited for it not to be a conspiracy anymore. I'm excited for, again, it's a sad topic to talk about, but for it to go from a conspiracy to facts in American history has to be exciting for anybody. I really think the more transparency our government gives us, the more trust the people will have in the American government, and I think that's imperative for a strong nation. I think the government stands on the backs of the people, and if the people are not okay with what the government's doing, their actions, their spending, military usage, treatment of the people, then the people have the right to stand up and revolt against that government. And the government bringing transparency to the American people it's well needed. It's something, especially in a post-COVID world where there's so much distrust in everybody, it's something that I truly appreciate, and I think a lot of Americans appreciate. After seeing these records and seeing the JFK, MLK, and RFK files, I mean, I think most Americans are dying to see this already so we can get some get some convictions, get some people behind bars. But the Epstein list and the P. Diddy case are the two next biggest things. I think releasing the list of the pedophiles who flew to Epstein's island and getting more information on that. Was he entrapping these people, not telling them they were underage? Were there people flying there willingly to have sex with minors? There are thousands of questions that are unanswered about the Epstein Island, about who was there, what political and influential figures in our world were there, and the P. Diddy parties as well. I found it very odd, and I think it's a big reason that Kamala lost as well, is that Kamala had a lot of P. Diddy's friends endorse her for president. A lot of celebrities in Hollywood are friends with P. Diddy and have been friends with P. Diddy over the years, and a lot of them endorse Kamala in the presidential race. And I think Kamala going to P. Diddy's friends, P. Diddy, a sex offender in the United States, I think it was a disgusting move by her. But I think getting the release of the list of the people who were at that parties engaging in sexual acts with minors or sexual acts against unconscious men or women, I think is crucial for trust with the American people. So the Epstein list and P. Diddy, I hope, is next after the JFK, RFK, and MLK files. I think the American people need to do everything they can to put pressure on the federal government to release those files. A lot of them don't want to release it. In the government, there's a lot of scrutiny against releasing these files, citing national security concern. But like I said, I think transparency is the greatest thing that it's one of the most necessary things in our nation. I think transparency from the people to the government and the government to the people is an absolute necessity for a strong country. So I really, like I said, I hope these things can come out. I hope we can get convictions in the P. Diddy trial. I hope we can get more convictions with Epstein. Really, there's only Ghislaine Maxwell right now, but there's got to be hundreds of other convictions that can be thrown around. So I really have a strong hope for the future under President Donald Trump's America. I think he has a strong vision as well of what he wants to do with law and order in this country. To talk about our final topic today, I want to talk about the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Act. So this bill was introduced in our government, and every single Democrat voted no on this in our Senate. So if you disagree with your senators voting no on this bill after I explain it to you, again, like I said in a previous episode, write your senators, write your local government, explain to them your frustration in this, why you think it's wrong, un-American, and unmoral. So what the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Act is it provides human rights to babies who survive an attempted abortion. So sometimes when abortions are attempted, the baby does survive and the baby is born. And when this does happen, throughout the U.S., this has been a controversial topic, but this bill would give those babies human rights, which they do not have. It would allow them to be given care that they need to live and survive. But this bill was shot down and denied by every single Democrat in our government. I personally, and I want to hear your guys' take on this as well, whether you agree or disagree, but I personally believe that any baby already born should not be murdered. I can dive into my full stance on abortion in a further episode, but talking about this one specifically, talking about babies that are already born due to botched abortions, I don't think should be allowed to be able to let die. I don't think you should be able to allow these babies to die because you didn't want to have it, you attempted to have an abortion, and the abortion didn't work. I do think these babies should be given human rights. I do think that they should be cared for. I personally think it's crazy that I'm even saying this out loud and talking about this and that this is a conversation, but I think as a human, other humans who are born should be given human rights no matter the circumstance. So, again, I want to hear your guys' take on this. If you guys are upset with this, as upset as I am about it, write your local senators, your House representatives, write anyone in the government explaining your frustration about this. I know I will be writing multiple members of the government explaining my frustration about this. Like I said, I personally think, and I think a lot of Americans would agree, but babies that are born should not be... It shouldn't be allowed to just leave them to die. They should be given care the same any other baby or child is given care. Saying that, you were attempting an abortion, which is the murder of that child. So say you're attempting that and it fails, it doesn't give you the right to then murder that child and allow that child to die. That's a child who has been born, and to strip human rights away from that child or not give that human rights in the first place, I think is unpatriotic, unmoral, un-American. And again, if you disagree with me, I would love to hear your voice on this. I want everyone in America to have a voice. That's one of the beautiful things about the First Amendment, is we all are allowed our own opinions. So if anyone wants to debate me on this topic or talk to me about this topic, feel free to look at my comments, look at my messages, send me a message there, and I would love to talk to you about this. I'm James Pascalides. This is America Unfiltered, episode 13. I'm signing off today, and I hope you all have a blessed day.